Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Luckiest Peach podcast. I'm your host, Rachel, the Lucky Peach. It is our first bonus episode since I think August. Yeah. There was supposed to be a bonus episode in November, but we don't talk about November. Just kidding. It was a messy month for me, for the podcast specifically, but also for me just in general. But the reason it was messy was because of things that I was discussing on. Yes. We're off to a great start on this. Not even a minute in, and I already got interrupted. I don't remember the last time I got interrupted, though. I think it was whatever episode it was. I think in January, when my family was just being unnecessarily loud. I think that's what it was. I think that's the last time I got interrupted. But anyways, that happened. Anyways, yeah, no, I mean, me being interrupted kind of, that seems like a good indicator of how messy November was for me regarding the podcast. The podcast itself, it was fine. It was me making content for the podcast of that month for the thing that I was discussing during that month that made it messy. If you go listen to episode, I think, what episode was it? Shit. If you go listen to episode 34, you'll get the details of why November sucked for me as a film critic. But yeah, I digress. There was supposed to be a bonus episode that month, and there ended up not being a bonus episode because shit happened. Yeah, so I decided to take that week off as a break to recuperate from the hot mess that month was for me as a film critic. The podcast itself did nothing wrong. But anyways, that being said, this was going to be the topic originally in November before I scrapped all my plans for that month in order to cover the thing that I was covering. Yeah, so this was going to be the original topic, and then I scrapped the whole month in order to cover this festival that I was covering. And then shit happened, so I ended up not even doing a bonus episode at all. But it's okay. It's okay. It is what it is. Fuck them. We're here now. Didn't forget. I kind of was hoping I would be able to watch more of these movies by the time I got to recording this. But the last couple of weeks have I think I've watched 4 or 5 movies total in the last 2 weeks, which is not normal for me. I'm sure that's normal for some people. I think for most people, that's their normal is maybe like 1 or 2 movies every couple of weeks. But for me, that's not normal. That's not very much. But I was very, very busy. I was working on a film set during spring break, and then last week I was recuperating from working on that film set, so I didn't really watch any movies. I think the only what did I watch? I rewatched Titan again. I saw X. I just finished watching Limelight. Rewatched Rocky Horror for the millionth time. Watched The Killing, and I watched Legend for last week's episode. And that's really all I've watched since that finishing that film shoot. So, not very much in terms of me as a person who normally sometimes watches upwards of like 3 movies a day, sometimes more. But I also just, the way that I watch movies hasn't been the same since the Spirit Awards screeners, not the awards themselves. Well, I mean, I guess technically, but the screeners, January and February when I was watching, I think it was like 40 movies and shows combined, 40 plus, that I had to watch for the Spirit Awards. That many in like a month and a half, which is not a big deal for me, to be honest. But because it was kind of like required viewing, I struggled, and it messed with the way that I just casually watch movies, and I'm still recovering from it. But yeah. Anyways, I haven't really watched, I think the only A24 film, I haven't even said the topic. I mean, you read the title, but I think the only A24 film that I've actually watched in the last couple of weeks was X. I rewatched Midsummer recently, but yeah. That being said, today's topic is my personal ranking of the 78 A24 produced or distributed films that I have seen. I have watched 78 as of now. I am halfway through Woodstock, so it could be 79, but I just have not finished Woodstock yet. I don't remember. You know what? I say this like I don't live on Chrome. Let me see how many there are total. Because I don't know if y'all knew this about me or not. I have spreadsheets of A24, Neon, and Utopia's films that they have either produced or distributed, or both. I follow those companies very closely. I like at the end of each month, or really every couple of weeks now, I just kind of play catch up, seeing what's happened with independent films, specifically those three companies, but just in general, independent films, I do catch ups. So yeah, I have a spreadsheet of A24's entire catalog, including their upcoming films, whether they have a date or not. I swear to God, I just heard a noise. If you knock my goddamn door one more time. Oh Lord. Okay, it was my mom. No. She doesn't come in here anymore. For good reason, because I told her to leave me the fuck alone. After, 23 years of manipulating me. But anyways, okay, we're not talking about Neon or Utopia. We are talking about A24. But okay, let me see. How many do we have? I'm gonna go off the number of films that are actually completely released. So this is their entire catalog up until Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I unfortunately have not seen yet because it's not available in my area. I don't think it's available in Texas at all yet. I know it becomes available in like Austin or Dallas this weekend, but I don't live in Austin or Dallas. So it's gonna be, I think I can watch it next weekend. I don't know, but it's not available near me yet. So up until Everything Everywhere All at Once, A24 has distributed and or produced 115 films. Men, directed by Alex Garland, officially releases in May. That will be 116. Technically, Bodies, 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 Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, and When He Finished Saving the World have been screened at least. Because I've seen When You Finish Saving the World. That will actually be included in this list. But it's not officially out. I watched it when it screened at Sundance, and then Marcel the Shell with Shoes On and Bodies, Bodies, Bodies have only screened at South by Southwest and did not have virtual screenings, so I have not seen either of those. But because they don't have official release dates for like national release dates or nationwide release dates, I'm not including them. Well, I am including When You Finish Saving the World because I've watched it and it's already on this list. But that's the only exception. So basically, 116 film out of we'll go out of 116 films. So So up to Everything Everywhere All at Once, plus When You Finish Saving the World is 116. And 116 minus 78, how many? 116 minus 78, that is 38 films that have already been, nationally released that I can watch at any time that I have not seen. That's really not many. Oh my god, I have issues. I was like, yeah, 78 films. I didn't think about it, like, in the fact of, like, oh yeah, they're just barely over 100 total. Not like, one of those bigger companies. I have issues. I mean, well, literally, y'all know I have no issue watching 5 or more films in a single day, and I spent an entire week watching Satin Tango, but so it's pretty evident that I have issues. Not even just because that, or even my mental illnesses, or, the fact that I'm heavily medicated for those mental illnesses. Just that out of 116 films from a single company, I've seen 78. And there's only 38. That's not that many. I know the main reason that I've seen this many is because in 2020, like summer of 2020, I was bored and was like, I'm gonna watch their entire catalog from the beginning, and I'm gonna make film journal scrapbook thingies to make a page for each film. And I did that up until the last one that I don't remember the last one I made a page for, but the last one that I watched that was consecutively in order was Into the Forest. That's the last film that I watched in that plan. And when did I watch Into the Forest? Oh wait, it won't show me that because I'm on a list. But I watched that, I think, early in 2021, maybe late in 2020. Yeah, basically, I abandoned it pretty quickly. And it wasn't even like I abandoned it. It's just, well, yeah, I kind of did, because after I watched De Palma, it put a funk in me. De Palma really upset me, and we'll get to that in a bit. I'll talk about it. I did not like De Palma at all. And my issue with De Palma isn't the film itself, it's with Brian De Palma. So that kind of tainted, like, it didn't taint the whole company for me. Like, I know they have nothing to do with the making of that movie. They just distributed it. But I don't know, it just kind of put a funk on my, like, plans for just, for my, the pacing of me watching these films. And that kind of slowed me down. And then I watched a couple more, and yeah, after Into the Forest, I think I kind of finally just forgot. And that was in 2020. That was like in the fall or winter of 2020. So about a year and a half ago. Obviously, I've watched some of the films since then. Some of them I've already seen. But there's some others that I've just watched randomly. But watching them in order of their release, I gave up on, a year and a half ago. I should have gotten those little scrapbooks out. I didn't. The one I bought, I liked it, but it didn't really have that many pages. So by the end of it, I would have had to have bought 5 of them, and they're not that expensive. But yeah, I should have gotten them out, but that's too much of a hassle. They're under a bunch of stuff in, like, the junk drawer of my dresser. So it's just, I'm already recording. It's not worth. I should have done it before I recorded, but I didn't think about it until just now when I brought it up. But yeah, well, it's not a dresser, it's a chest of drawers. There's a difference. I don't know if y'all knew that. There's a difference between a chest of drawers and a dresser. A dresser is, like, shorter and more horizontal, and a chest of drawers is taller and vertical. Not that y'all needed to know that. A lot of terms regarding furniture also come from France. I don't know if y'all knew that. If you didn't, now you do. A lot of the terms regarding furniture come from France. Like Armoire, Chase Lounge. Those are the only ones I remember off the top of my head. And Armoire, I think, is the same thing as a chest of drawers. I don't know, but that's what I have because it's a vertical one. I took an interior design class in high school, and there are just some random things that I still remember. And it's like, there's parts of useless knowledge that you're just like, that's cool. It's a fun fact, but is it a fun fact to be like, hey, this is actually, that's not a dresser, that's a chest of drawers. Did you know that? What? That's actually, I don't think anyone cares that. But anyways, I'm sure I still have the teacher I had in that class. She we took very meticulous notes in that class, but I really enjoyed it, which is weird because I'm not really a fan of meticulous notes, but I really enjoyed them. Like we did lettering at the beginning of the year, and she was like, "Oh, your notes are going to be in the same lettering style." It did not help my handwriting. It helped some people's handwritings. I've learned that if you just do lettering for a little while, it'll clear up your handwriting if it's messy. But mine, it looks the same as it always has, but my handwriting isn't messy, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I literally still have that notebook somewhere, and that was like 6 years ago. So I don't know why I still have it, but I do. I think no, the reason I still have it is because the notes are so meticulous, and they're straight up notes about like tips for buying houses and renting in there, because interior design includes all of that. Apparently, I didn't know that, so that's why I kept it. Is because it actually has useful information regarding the legal process of renting or owning a house or an apartment. But other than that, I don't know why I kept it. But I'm sure I have all those French names for furniture types in there, as well as every single type of house architecture style possible. I forgot most of them. I know, okay, well, there's not just colonial, there's multiple types of colonial. But I know bungalow. I've always known bungalow because I used to play the game of life, which is an incredibly fucked up game when you actually look back at it. I mean, most board games are fucked up when you really look at them, like the Game of Life or like Monopoly. I digress. But anyways, I don't know why I let myself ramble for 20 minutes knowing that I have 78 movies to talk about now from this fucking list. But so I'm gonna get started. This is my personal ranking of A24 films. The ranking does not necessarily have anything to do with my ratings of them. They're for the most part they're in order of like 1 star to 5 stars, but they're all mix and match. Like they don't have anything specific. Like the actual ranking of them doesn't have anything exactly to do with the rating. But to kick things off, at number 78 is Revenge of the Green Dragons from 2014. I don't know why I looked at my fucking... It's on Letterboxd. Anyways, I gave it 1 star. I'm not even gonna bother correcting myself by saying peaches. I gave it 1 star. It's not good. It's one of those... It's like, it's bad. I couldn't tell you the plot if I tried, but what I do remember is that it's a mafia film, an Asian mafia film. And when I say Asian mafia film, I mean the film itself is made by white people, but the antagonists of the film are Asian mafia. So, and the main character, the protagonist, is Ray Liotta. So it's racist. I'll say that much. It's fucking racist. And aside from that, it's just not good. It's not good. It's just not good. It gives the vibes of like if they tried to make Rush Hour serious, and if instead of, Carter and Lee, it was just Ray Liotta. That's it. Also, I only said Asian Mafia because I do not remember the nationality off the top of my head, and I don't want to assume, so I'll look it up, actually, now that I'm, like, being like, oh, now that I'm thinking about it, I gotta look it up. Revenge of the Green Dragons. Anyways, so it was directed by Andrew Lau, who is from Hong Kong. The production team and everyone else involved, though, is white. It just says Chinatown gang, so it doesn't necessarily Chinese American gang life. Okay, not mob gangs. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Anyways, yeah, this is a very forgettable movie. It's just not good, and it's racist. Anyways, number 77 is The Hole in the Ground from 2019. I very recently watched this one, actually. Also gave it 1 star. I thought when I pressed click, like when I pressed show review, is gonna like do a little drop down. Letterboxd, y'all need to fix your fucking interface. Your user interface kind of sucks. Honestly, it kind of does. But anyways, yeah, it's not good. It's also very forgettable. The movie is very much one of those like scary child movies where like this single mother and her child move into a haunted house in the middle of nowhere, and guess what? There's a hole in the ground, and he just starts staring at it, and then he starts being weird. It plays out like those horror movies that you see within a horror movie, or like just within a movie. I was gonna say like that scene in Mean Girls when Janice and Damien are watching a movie on Halloween, but I think they were actually watching like Halloween or something, or like Friday the 13th or something. I don't know. I think they were actually watching like an actually good scary movie in it, but I don't know off the top of my head. What I do know is The Hole in the Ground feels like one of those movies that you see within a movie that has no real purpose other than it's just not good. Because if you ever watch a movie where they're watching a movie within the movie, those are usually just they feel worse than like soap opera vibes, like worse than that. That's what this movie is. Anyways, number 76, we have also gave 1 star. From 2015, The Adderall Diaries, starring 2 people who I would like to not mention, but I'm gonna have to because I'm talking about them now. Basically, this movie is these 2 people who start hooking up, James Franco and Amber Heard, redacted, who meet, and they both have like trauma and abuse trauma from families and partners, and I just find it incredibly ironic considering James Franco and Amber Heard are the main characters who are advocating for abuse victims in the movie. And knowing that them two themselves, around this specific time, 2014, 2015, around this specific time, they were abusing people themselves in their personal lives. That alone pissed me off, but the movie itself isn't good. But that alone, and like I don't want to hear any separate the art from the artist. No, because the time frame of when they shot this film and when it released matches up with some really fucked up shit that both of them were doing in their personal lives. But anyways, I hope I never have to say either of those names again for a while, so I'm going to stop it there. Number 75, with 1.5 stars from 2012, is the very, very first film distributed by A24, A Glimpse Inside the Mind of Charles Swann III. This is like, they renamed it. It was originally called like Archie's Final Project. What's it called now? Is it called like My Suicide now? They renamed it. I don't know why. That's an actually good movie, but the way that that film is edited, that's how A Glimpse Inside the Mind of Charles Swann III is edited, but poorly executed. It's about Charlie Sheen plays the main character, and he is I don't know. There's just these weird intercuts of like I don't know if they're imaginary friends or what. I don't know. But there's also some appropriation of Native American wardrobes. So yeah, it's just in general, it's not a good movie. It's not memorable, but it's fucked up. It's offensive. Anyways, moving on. Number 74 from 2014 with 1 star is While We're Young. I hate this movie with burning passion. It was not good. It is very much a Ben Stiller movie where Ben Stiller plays the same character that he's played for the last 30 years of this guy who's just like, what's going on, the cool kids? He posted on Instagram. It's like Ben Stiller being blown away, but not even blown away, just like upset that people younger than him exist. I can't replicate the Ben Stiller thing, but if you've seen a Ben Stiller film in the last 30 years, you know what I'm talking about, because it's not just the typecast, it's the typecast that he casts himself in that I don't know if he realizes is a typecast, because he just does it to himself and he thinks he's doing something, but really I'm just like, you're annoying. Enjoy life. You look like you have a really boring life because you're judging every little thing that happens. Yeah. Yeah, like even Alex the Lion is like that, where he's just like, we're in Madagascar? Marty, what? Why do you want to leave? It's a very Ben Stiller role. But just in general, what is this? Is it a Noah Baumbach? I think it is. Pretty sure it is. It is a Noah Baumbach. That tells you everything you need to know about this movie. But yeah, it's basically a middle-aged couple meets a young couple, and they become obsessed with the young couple and kind of stalk them and try to become them. A story we've all heard a million times. It tried to be like a middle-aged coming-of-age story, and it just was not good, because middle-aged coming-of-age stories are garbage. 90% of them dunk on younger people for no reason other than just because you're younger than me. I hate you. I'm like, I actually have a real reason for why you don't like people younger than you, okay? I hate kids because they're messy and because they're loud. And they're always sticky for some reason, and they are a lot, and they can't take care of themselves, among other reasons of why I hate kids. They don't actually have a real reason for why they don't like the younger couple other than they're younger and they haven't aged. It's like that argument that older people make when they're like, you should be lucky that you're young. And I'm like, shut up, you were young once. Don't be mad at me because you wasted your time, because you wasted your 20s. Don't be mad at me. Anyways, yeah, the movie's bad. I could continue going on a rant about this movie, but I'm going to stop. I'll make this clear now. I don't like Noah Baumbach. Moving on with number 73 from 2021, with 1 star, is False Positive. This movie very much tried to be a feminist thing, a feminist narrative about how controlling men are, but it actually did the opposite. Like, it tried so hard to be like overly white feminist, not just feminist, white feminist, girl bossy white feminist, that it ended up being misogynist. It also has one of the most disgusting scenes with a fetus I've ever fucking seen. I don't have a weak stomach, but the ending scene is vile and disgusting. It is the worst, ugly, scary baby thing to come out of 2021. It beats Titan. It beats Annette. What was the other movie? There's another movie with a scary baby in 2021. I remember tweeting about this. Lucky Peach. Lucky Peach. Scary movie. Oh, what was the other one? Oh, Lamb. Yeah, it is. If you go look up that tweet that I posted at the end of 2021, the picture of the baby from the movie is in there. It's awful, and that picture alone tells you everything you need to know about this movie. It's fucked up. It tried so hard to be like a feminist, an ultra feminist, like Rosemary's Baby, and it turned out to be even more misogynistic than Rosemary's Baby. I don't know how you pulled that one off, but good job. Number 72 with 1.5 stars is 2017's The Disaster Artist. I'm not going to say more because I refuse to say that main actor's name. I said earlier when I talked about the Adderall Diaries that I was not going to say his name again for a few months. And I've already talked about him too much recently because I found out he enrolled at the university that I go to. And then was like, nope, never mind, for no real reason. But yeah, that's been a topic of discussion about how the fucked up shit he did recently for some reason with me and my friend group. So yeah, I'm not going to talk about him, but if you don't know why The Disaster Artist has 1.5 stars, have you seen The Disaster Artist? That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, so number 71 from 2015 with 1.5 stars is Barely Lethal. Again, pretty forgettable. It tried to be like a girl bossy, Black Widow vibe, but it wasn't a superhero movie. It was more just like, here's this school that raises orphan girls to be assassins, and they're gonna send this one assassin undercover at a high school. What? And it like randomly has Samuel L. Jackson in it. You know, it's not good. And the reason I say girl bossy is because it's got that. Well, first of all, it came out in 2015, which is when that kind of thing was popular. Like The Duff came out. The Duff is a good movie, but like The Duff, like Vampire Academy, like that shit. I'm not saying anything bad about those movies, but like this came out around that time when these young adult things were popular. And I'm not dunking on them. I was into them too. I still fucking love Twilight. But yeah, it's one of those like super pink, but it's feminist. I know I'm making fun of feminism a lot right now. I'm not saying I'm not a feminist. I'm saying I'm not a white feminist. I am white and I am a feminist. I guess literally, in the literal sense, yes, I am. But in the social context of what a white feminist is, that's not me. No girl boss for me. I'm also not a girl, so yeah. Anyways, yeah, I know I'm dunking on feminism a lot right now, but specifically dunking on white feminism that is just girl boss vibes and MLM vibes, and I just do not associate with that because white feminism is more oppressive. Anyways, number 70 from 2017 is Hot Summer Nights. I don't know why I didn't rate it. I mean, I'll rate it right now off the top of my head. I would give it a 1.5 stars. It wasn't anything special to me. It felt like it just felt like every other trying to be too sexy teen movie. It's one of those movies where it's like, hey, look, Timothée Chalamet's in it. My silence is me explaining why. I'm just like, okay, like that's supposed to, like, Yes, Timothy Chalamet is attractive, but like it was like that was their main selling point. Like it was going for book smart type thing. Anyways, number 69. Huh. With 1.5 stars from 2015 is De Palma. Y'all aren't ready for this rant. Actually, this rant really isn't all that interesting. This, first of all, this documentary is directed by Noah Baumbach, and as I said before, earlier in this episode, y'all know how I feel about Noah Baumbach. I don't like him. I think Greta Gerwig can do much better. But anyways, because, well, I'm gonna go into that tangent now because the irony of that is, you know how like Marriage Story is based off of his actual divorce, and how in the movie Adam Driver's character is like, I'm hot, I'm the next big director in Hollywood, I'm up and coming, I'm working on a big piece of work right now. The movie that Noah Baumbach was working on at that time when he was going through that divorce, when he was a hot up and coming director, was Madagascar 3. And there's nothing wrong with Madagascar 3. We love the Madagascar franchise. But Noah, you were not hot. You were not a hot director at that time because you were directing Madagascar 3. Alright? Know your worth. Alright, if you're directing the third film in a random children's franchise film, whatever, you're not hot. You're not a hot director. You're not a director that, no. If you were, they would have gotten you for the first Madagascar. That's all I'm going to say. But even then, people don't really think about animation directors unless you're like Satoshi Kon or Hayao Miyazaki. I'm sorry, I stumbled over my words. So basically, unless you're a really fucking good anime director, it's unlikely. And I'm not saying the only animation directors that get remembered are anime directors. I'm saying it's highly unlikely because the majority of widely known animation directors are anime directors. Anyways, Noah Baumbach, also you had no say in any of the artistic parts of that animation, so he doesn't even count towards that because Satoshi Kon and Hayao Miyazaki, at least, you know, they drew some of their own shit. They were part of the animation process. I digress, but I don't like Noah Baumbach. He was not a hot up-and-coming director at that time. He was working on Madagascar fucking 3. That whole circus shit. Anyways, now I'm gonna have that stuck in my head for the rest of the day. But yeah, so De Palma basically is a documentary of Brian De Palma sitting in a chair talking about his career. And it has, you know, little video inserts showing clips from behind the scenes of the films he's talking about. So basically, the like cycle of that film is like, he's like, yeah, and this year I made this film and I thought it was the best work I've ever made. I'm such a good director. I'm the best director in the entire world. But it didn't make any money. It was garbage. I don't know why it didn't make any money, but I'm the best director in the entire, like, he would just basically, it's I guess like an hour and a half, I don't remember, like an hour and a half of him gaslighting every crew he's ever worked with, in a way, because he's like, I'm the best director ever, but the movie was shit. Like, he even says that about fucking Scarface, which is funny. He's like, it's the best movie ever, I'm the best director, but the movie was shit, it didn't make any money. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Scarface made a fuck ton of money. What? Same with Carrie. He said the same shit, which I already fucking hate him because of that opening sequence in Carrie. Carrie is a fantastic movie, I will say that. Carrie is a fantastic movie. Have some respect for my queen, Sissy Spacek. But that opening sequence, did we need that, Brian? Brian De Palma, I doubt you're listening to this, but did we need that opening sequence of these teenage, underage girls, children, running around a locker room, a high school locker room, naked? Did we need that? It was like, how long is that opening sequence? Like 5 to 10 minutes of minors? I don't care that it was the 70s, okay? Those characters were children. I don't care if the actors were adults, the characters are children. That's the same argument. I'm going to go for Euphoria. I don't care that the actors are adults, the characters are children. They are minors. Why the fuck are we showing these like detailed sex scenes? Anyways, I digress. But yeah, De Palma he keeps dunking on his own movies, but then calling himself the best director in the entire world. And the part that gets me is he directed the first Mission Impossible film. And Mission Impossible was because by this point Tom Cruise was already the golden child of Scientology. The whole purpose of that franchise was for it to be Tom Cruise's franchise, to do what he wanted, because he was a star, an action star who did his own stunts. So it was whatever company produces that franchise basically being like, hey, this is Tom's thing, let him do his thing. I know you're the director, but it's his thing. And he straight up says that, like, when he's like recounting the conversation about him getting hired for Mission Impossible, he straight up says, yeah, they told me it was Tom's thing, he's gonna do his thing. And he's like, okay. And then he goes on these like really long-winded stories about him fighting with Tom Cruise because Tom Cruise wanted to do his thing, which is literally was the point of the contract of working on that film. And Brian De Palma just kept fighting him. And like, I get it. I mean, at that point, why not make Tom Cruise the director? I get it. But you literally, when you signed on, you knew that Tom Cruise was going to do his thing. He was going to do whatever the fuck he wanted. And you still are like, Tommy's just the worst person to work with. But I didn't sign up to be bossed around by my own actor. But you literally did. But yeah, it's an hour and a half of Brian De Palma being like, I'm the best director in the entire world, but all my movies flopped. Even though a lot of his movies didn't flop. And if they did, commercially, not, if they weren't commercially successful, they at least became cult classics. Phantom of the Paradise is a cult classic film. Carrie did very well commercially, but it's also a cult classic film. Same with Scarface. Scarface, if I'm not mistaken, got nominated for fucking awards. Don't quote me on that. Let me look it up. Fucking Michelle Pfeiffer. I love her. I love that woman. Oh yeah, it is a cult classic. But it also, okay, so the budget for Scarface was, there's no specific number, but it says $23.5 to $37 million, and it grossed $66 million. Like, I'm telling you, this man is on crack. He said that flopped. He was like, it just didn't do good. Are you saying you didn't make as much money as you wanted? Are you saying you're upset that you didn't make as much money as you wanted because you had to use some of that money to pay your crew? Anyways, let me see. Accolades. Yeah, it was nominated for Golden Globes. Oh, but the irony, it's funny. The ironic part, I just realized he was nominated for Worst Director at the Razzies that year. That's why he's petty. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think he's a good director. He's made some pretty good films, but I don't think he's a good director. I don't think the films that are good, that are directed by him, are good because he directed them. I think they're good for other reasons. They're usually mostly carried by the cast. Anyways, I don't like him. I never really thought much of him before I watched that film. I was just like, yeah, I like Carrie. I like Carrie. I like Scarface. I thought Phantom of the Paradise was alright. I was like, I thought these movies were pretty good. They're alright. And then I watched this movie and I was like, fuck this guy. Fuck this guy. If I find out there's an interview of somebody saying he's hard to work with, I would immediately believe it. I wouldn't doubt it based on how immature and childish he acts in this documentary. And the documentary is literally him sitting in a chair talking for an hour and a half about his own career. And check your ego, okay? I don't like him. Anyways, so yeah, moving on. Number 68 from 2013 is with 1.5 stars is The Spectacular Now, Nothing Special. Came out during the hype of young adult novels turned into movies. So nothing special. Number 67 from 2015 with 1.5 stars is Equals. Also came out during the hype of dystopian films, but it's not good. It's like it's set in this dystopian world where people aren't allowed to have emotions, and these two people start having emotions and fall in love. It's just, yeah. Like, they consider emotions as like a disease, like COVID. They're like, oh, they got the illness. Now they're being quarantined. Like, no shit. That's exactly what happens. Yeah, it's nothing special. Number 66 from 2015 with 2 stars is Remember. This is just a poorly done, kind of very out of touch Holocaust survivor revenge story. I'll say that. The twist at the end, it wasn't a good twist, or at least it wasn't executed well. If this movie had been done properly, the twist that happens at the end would have been an oh shit moment. You would have been like, oh my god, you know? But when it happens, you're just like, oh, it's not a twist that you see coming from a mile away, but it's a twist that you're just like, oh, okay. It doesn't really change anything, to be honest. Yeah. Moving on, number 65 with 2 stars from 2012 is Spring Breakers. I don't really feel like saying anything about this movie because then I would have to say a certain someone's name that I already said previously in this episode. Also, Harmony Korine is a creep. And, I mean, all of his movies are indicative of that, but this movie specifically is indicative of that. He's a creep. Anyways, also, person who will not be named and Harmony Korine, how dare you? How dare you rip off Riff Raff? Why don't just cast Riff Raff? Honestly, his main goal was to blow up and act like he didn't know nobody. And you ripped him off. Moving on, number 64 from 2015 with 2 stars, Dark Places. This came out after Gone Girl when everyone was, fiending for Gillian Flynn's novels. Understandably, Gillian Flynn is a fantastic writer. But it's like it's like Hollywood discovers an author and they're like, we're going to just make all of their books into films. Fund all of them right now. Who cares who makes them? When, like, the person who made the first film actually put a lot of work into it. I'm not a fan of David Fincher, but he makes some damn good movies. He makes damn good films. Including Gone Girl it's phenomenal. But yeah, that's all it is. It's just like a shitty adaptation of a novel. Because Gone Girl had come out and they were just like, adapt all her novels. And they did that. And it was very poorly funded. So it didn't turn out good. Number 63 from 2015 with 2 stars is Slow West. It just felt like your run-of-the-mill Western. Very forgettable. I don't remember the plot of this movie other than they were in the West. And I remember, who the fuck is in it? I don't know. Who was it? Is it one of the Skarsgårds? I don't know. Whoever the main guy is. Fassbender. It's one of those white boys that just looks like every other white boy, but is also a good actor. Yeah, it is Fassbender. It's Fassbender walking around a lot. That's it. Yeah. Number 62 from 2018 with 2 stars is High Life. I'm not going to get into it. This movie was like, it wanted to be a mind fuck so badly, and at the end of it, I was just like, this is disgusting. I hate this. Which sucks because I love Robert Pattinson, but I really tried. I tried. I'm sorry if you hear my dad yelling. Apparently they're arguing about whether or not my mom snores, even though we've known since the dawn of time that she snores. Number 61 from 2013 with 2 stars is Locke. I like the concept of this film. The entire film takes place inside a car. And it is Tom Hardy driving around, accepting random phone calls and getting texts. It's got some like crime drama things to it. I like the concept of it, of a film taking place in one location. The whole thing is in the car, but it's just poorly edited. It's not done well. Number 60 with 2 stars from 2013 is The Bling Ring. I like Sofia Coppola. I'm a big fan of the Coppolas just in general, but they are genuine Hollywood royalty. Yeah, but the acting is not there. The only person who really delivers in their acting is Emma Watson, and in my honest opinion, she's not that good of an actress. Not even in this, but even then, this is her best work. I'm sorry. She's gorgeous, but she's not that great of an actress. I mean, this isn't her best work overall. Her best work is Perks of Being a Wallflower, and then after that it would be, Harry Potter. But yeah, this movie it missed the mark in the acting department, to be completely honest. Number 59 from 2015 with 2.5 stars is Mojave. Yeah, this is like one of those weird stories where this guy was like in the woods and then he met this other guy and the other guy scammed him. So then he got the other guy back and then the other guy started stalking him and threatening to kill him. That's the whole fucking movie. Well, I'm not going to say the ending, but that is the whole movie minus the ending. But also Oscar Isaac says brother at least 100 times in that movie. And that alone made it 2.5 stars. It was insufferable. I love Oscar Isaac. I think he's like the sexiest man alive right now. But the amount of times that he said brother, and I'm pretty sure that's not his fault. It was probably in the script, but it was an ick for me. 58 from 2014 with 2.5 stars, Son of a Gun. I don't remember this movie at all. It was completely forgettable. All I know is Ewan McGregor is in it. And it has those grungy, dingy man vibes that Slow West and Mojave have. So all three of those movies very much blend together in my head. Number 57 from 2014 with 2.5 stars is The Captive. It was okay. It was a missing child movie, but a lot of it is Ryan Reynolds walking around in the snow, yelling, or walking in a police station yelling. Just a lot of Ryan Reynolds yelling. Yeah. Number 56 from 2014 with 2.5 stars is A Most Violent Year. I really wanted to like this movie. The issue I had with it is, like a lot of the other films that I gave 2.5 stars, it's very monotonous. It has like one tone. It's pretty just streamlined. A very streamlined plot of this, I think 50s or 60s couple just going through it. That's a plot that we've seen a million times already. It wasn't interesting to me, but I really wanted to like it. Number 55 from 2014 with 2.5 stars is Laggies. It's a rom-com. Nothing special. Number 54 from 2012 with 2.5 stars, Ginger and Rosa. I actually kind of liked this movie. It just wasn't executed that well. But it was I kind of liked it as a coming of age story. It just wasn't executed very well. Number 53 from 2015 with 3 stars is Mississippi Grind. Very, very strong 21 vibes because it's about gambling. It's gambling movies like this. They just kind of like A Most Violent Year, and the others where it just feels monotonous. Gambling movies all feel the same. It's just like, let's go gambling. Let's hustle. Let's hustle at the casino. That's all those movies are to me. 52. Well, yeah, for a gambling movie to like actually be good to me, it has to be more than just let's go hustle. Okay, it's gotta have a little bit more Ocean's 11 to it. Okay, not just let's go hustle and make some money. 52 from 2014 with 3 stars is Cut Bank. This movie was actually all right. It's just the city where they're investigating a murder, and this couple witnessed the murder unintentionally. It's just, yeah, it's a crime movie. It's all right. It's pretty good. It's not too bad. Number 51 from 2014 with 3 stars is The Rover. I think it's Pattinson and Fassbender. I don't know, but it blends in with all, again, like The Captive and Son of a Gun and Mojave and Slow West. All of those came around in the same period of time, too. They all feel the same, the Rover included. It's just a little bit higher because it was executed better than the others, but they all feel the same. I'm just going to say that all those movies feel the same. They're in a specific category in my head of these are all the same movie. Some of them are just executed better than others, and they do have different plots, but in my head, they're grouped together. They are the same movie. Number 50, this one, when I've told people that I feel this way about this movie, it has bothered them. I don't know why, but this is also just my opinion. Number 50 from 2013 with 3 stars is Under the Skin. I didn't care for this movie. Scarlett Johansson is an asshole, but, you know, she's a good actress at times, sometimes. She was alright in this, but I feel like it was too easy to miss something, and then all of a sudden the rest of the plot of the movie is just, it doesn't make any sense to you because you missed that 1 second in the middle of it that honestly looked like it didn't matter at all because it was just somebody walking. You know, like, it's one of those things where it's like, it really doesn't look important, and then it happens, and you're just like, "What?" It's and it's not even like a blink and you miss it type thing. It's just like this wasn't important, but now I don't understand the rest of the movie. But that thing still isn't important when I think about the rest of the movie. But for some reason, it's easy to lose track of this movie. And not in a way of just like, oh, it keeps you engaged the whole time. It's more just like being engaged with this movie feels like a chore. It's hard to stay engaged with this movie, in my opinion. So, but the graphics, well, yeah, the graphics and the visual effects were pretty nice. Yeah. Number 49 from 2016, also with 3 stars, is Free Fire. This is like a fun movie to watch with your friends and laugh at and be like, oh my god, they're just shooting at each other for an hour in this warehouse. But it has Brie Larson and Armie Hammer in it, so big oof. And yeah, the characters don't really have much dimension to them. Their characters kind of suck. I'm not gonna lie, there's like 2 characters in it that are good, and I already forgot everything about them. Yeah, the characters aren't interesting at all, but the concept is hilarious. This is very much just like a sit back and be entertained kind of movie, but it's not great. Number 48 from 2018, also with 3 stars, is Mid-90s. I actually hated this movie. I still do. I hate this movie. Not in the way that I hate 8th grade, but like, I'll get to that. But like, not in the way that everyone hates 8th grade, because 8th grade is fantastic. And this movie is really well done, which is why it's so high on my list. I mean, it is at number 48, but it's higher on the list for reasons. But I don't like it. It's upsetting, and like, it feels appropriative because it's Jonah Hill being like, hey, I see myself in this character. This character is kind of based on me. And it's literally a group of preteen and teenage boys being pieces of shit and saying things they shouldn't say and just being offensive. It's icky. It's an icky movie, but the production value is good, which is why it has 3 stars for me. But I hate it. It's an insufferable watch, kind of like 8th grade, but 8th grade is insufferable for a good reason. This is insufferable, not exactly for a bad reason, but it's just insufferable. I hated every second of this. I really did. Number 47. This is also one of those ones that piss people off when I tell them that it's lower on my list. From 2013 with 3 stars is Enemy. I just don't care for this movie. I don't really have any thoughts on it other than I just don't care. It's one of those ones that you gotta dig deeper on, which is fine, but it's not like when I finished this movie, I was like, I need to learn everything about it. You know, when you finish watching Cloverfield for the first time, you're like, I need to know everything. And you like want to dig deeper and you do like a Wikipedia deep dive on Cloverfield and that whole universe. You know, when I finished this movie, I was just like, now I feel like I gotta learn more, but I don't want to. I really don't like it. I just don't care. It left too many things unanswered, and not in a way that it made me want to look for the answers. More in just like I'm confused and I don't really want to look for the answers. So yeah, I just didn't care for it, but it is entertaining nonetheless. I don't hate it, but I don't like it either. I feel very neutral about this movie. Like, I will watch it again at some point. I think I've watched it twice now. I probably will watch it again at some point. It is for sure a rewatchable movie because of how confusing it is, but I'm not mind blown by it like a lot of people are. Number 46 from 2014 with 3.5 stars is Obvious Child. This is a very cute, like, adult coming of age story about bodily autonomy. I loved it. It's like what Plan B with Jennifer Lopez, the movie with Jennifer Lopez, it's what Plan B should have been. Like, that's exactly what this movie is. It's so good. It's like Plan B, but good. I think that movie was called Plan B. I don't know, that rom-com with J-Lo where she got inseminated. I don't know, but yeah, Obvious Child's really good, but it's not like amazing. But it's good. It's really good. It's worth a watch. Number 45 from 2018 with 3.5 stars is Slice. This was a really fun movie, in my opinion. I had a really good time watching this. It has Zazie Beetz and Chance the Rapper, and it's a really fun movie. It's a fun watch. It's definitely like a Friday night, go with your friends and order some pizza and get drunk and watch a scary crime movie starring Chance the Rapper. It's a fun time. It's a fun movie. Number 44 from 2021 with 3.5 stars is Lamb. If you saw any of my tweets after like the posters and the first trailer dropped, I was really excited for Lamb and I was kind of disappointed. I love Noomi Rapace. I think that's how you say her name, Noomi Rapace. I love her. This movie just it was missing something. You know, there was like a little dullness. It was missing something. And if that thing had been there, it would have been like a 4.5 to 5 star movie. But nonetheless, I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed it. I mean, I will admit, when I saw it in theaters, it did put me to sleep. I slept through half of the movie. So, it ASMR'd me to sleep. Which, again, doesn't say anything about the value of the film. Just, I was missing something and I was lost and bored and I fell asleep. But I still enjoy the movie. It's just not that great. It's missing something. It's just, there's something. I don't know what, but something. Number 43 from 2020 with 3.5 stars is On the Rocks. this is a very Bill Murray movie. I'll say that much. It's a very Bill Murray movie, and it's fun, it's entertaining, but it's a Bill Murray movie. And I'm not saying Bill Murray in like a negative context. I'm just saying Bill Murray is playing the Bill Murray type of character. Like, I don't think he's that kind of asshole in real life. I doubt he is. Heard he's a great guy. But the characters that he's playing in this movie is very akin to other characters he's played. So yeah, but it's a fun movie. Yeah, number 42 from 2018, 3.5 stars, 8th grade. Again, great movie. Very well, very well done. The reason it has 3.5 stars is because it reminded me of, even though like it's definitely younger Gen Z stuff, when they're like, you don't have Snapchat? Younger Gen Z stuff, like stuff that didn't apply when I was in middle school. But it's so much of the awkwardness still resonates with a lot of us, even with millennials, people older than me. It still resonates with everyone, and that's why I gave it 3.5 stars, because it's upsetting. It's upsetting to be like, oh god, this don't remind me. Don't remind. It's reminding yourself of the cringiness of when you were in middle school, and that's why I gave it 3.5 stars, because of my own personal trauma of the kind of weirdo that I was in 8th grade, and which is ironic because all of us apparently were. But I just don't want to look back. I don't. It's like harsh look back at you in middle school. It's like every single person watching this movie is like, oh my god, that was me in middle school. I hate this so much. And that's why it's part of why the movie is so fucking good, is because it gives you that reaction, that really visceral reaction. Yeah. But yeah, that reaction that I had is the only reason that it has 3.5 stars. Otherwise, it's a perfect movie. It's a really well done movie. Honestly, my rating probably shouldn't reflect that. It should reflect the film itself. It honestly probably should have a higher rating. The ranking would stay the same because my ranking is entirely personal. So yeah. Number 41 from 2018 with 3.5 stars is In Fabric. I liked this. This is very much possibly in Michigan vibes of like, oh no, no. Like very much possibly Michigan vibes, and I loved it. But it was just missing something. There were some holes that were there that did not piece the whole thing together. It was missing something. Number 40 from 2015 with 3.5 stars is Room. I don't care about this movie, to be honest. It's a well-made movie. That's why it's higher on this list. I mean, it's in the midpoint, but it's higher on the list. It's a good movie. But this movie's been talked about too much, is basically what I'm saying. It's been talked about too much. So, like, what am I going to say that hasn't already been said? Yeah, the discourse was just overdone, and it's been exhausted. Same with number 39 from 2017 with 3.5 stars, Ladybird. The discourse has been overdone and overexhausted. And also, this movie made me very uncomfortable on a personal level. So, but it is a good movie. But yeah, like Room, the discourse is it's been exhausted. It's been dug deep into the ground. So there's really nothing I could say at this point. It's been talked about too much on TikTok. Number 38 from 2015 with 3.5 stars is Kresha. I actually really enjoy this movie. I really do. I really love this movie. This is Schrager Schultz's first feature film as a director. He also directed Waves, which is not on this list. I haven't watched it yet. But he also directed Waves. Yeah, this is Kresha is like I don't know what it's called when you make a short film and then you make a feature film off of that. That's what Kresha, like with Whiplash, it started as a short film and then they made a feature. That's what Kresha is. I don't know if that's an adaptation or like a reboot. I don't know what that would be called, or I guess remake. I don't know. But that's what it is. There was a short film called Kresha, same plot and all that. Like, and then yeah, he made a feature film about it. The main actress Kresha is his actual aunt. A lot of his own family is in this film. It's a very, very low budget, personally made film. And you know, anyone who can do that and then get this kind of distribution and stuff, like, I have massive amounts of respect. Like, the quality of the film aside, just the fact, you know, that we got it, that he was able to do this of a film that he made with his family is insane. And I have so much respect for that. And that's part of why I love this film so much, but also because it's good. The last time I watched it, I showed it to friends. Well, I was with Raul and them after, I think, no, it was after HCAF. It was in November. Oof. We were going to watch it after or in the week that we were shooting before I leave, and then we never did. So yeah, we watched it in November finally, and they were dunking on it, and I was like, hey, this is this guy's first movie. Have some respect. They were like, why is it overexposed there? Why is it not? What's this editing? It's on purpose. The overexposure in some of the scenes is done on purpose. Also, it's a low budget film. The lighting's not going to be perfect. But yeah, it's one, it's a low budget film. The writing, the lighting, none of it, especially the lighting, is going to be perfect. That's just expensive. Two, the lighting, the way that it is, and the parts that it goes overexposed are part of the plot. Like, they're used to drive the plot and the emotion being portrayed in the scenes. It helps convey that emotion that Kresha is feeling. Also, she's a phenomenal actress. She's just a fantastic actress. Yeah, I will fight for this movie. Do not come for me. It's not perfect, obviously, but do not come for this movie, okay? It's not like Steven Spielberg is like, it's gonna be the greatest thing I've ever made. All right, yeah, well, I guess Steven Spielberg isn't a good example, but it's not like James Cameron's gonna be like, this is the best movie I've ever made, and then it's dog shit. It's not like that. It's Trey Edward Schultz's directorial debut that he made with his family on an extremely low budget in one of his family members' houses. Like, that. Well, now I'm heated. Now I'm talking about it because I literally had to fight tooth and nail with Raul and Kelvin and them over this movie because they were like, oh, what you did, but what you do? I'm like, shut the fuck up, have some respect. Yeah, okay, the budget was $30,000. Okay, I don't want to hear shit about it being overexposed. First of all, he used it to his advantage to convey that emotion, but also, we're looking at a $30,000 budget. You know how expensive lighting is? You know how expensive just a camera alone is? You know how expensive a microphone alone is? Shut up. I think this is the first time on my show that I've been like, hey, Raul, shut up. Raul, I know you're listening. I actually know you're listening. Shut up. Kresha's a good movie. I will die for this. I will die on this hill. Kresha is a good fucking movie. Don't come for my man Trey ever again. He's got a basketball game tomorrow. Anyways, number 37 from 2021, 3.5 stars, is Val. It is a documentary of Val Kilmer recounting his career. Not in the same style as De Palma. It is done differently. It is made by his son. I forgot his son's name. I apologize. But it's directed and produced by his son. Yeah, it's a very heartwarming documentary. It is very bittersweet, but it's heartwarming. You know, it's this sweet man who is just a good guy talking about his career, talking about being Batman. Like, it's it's like it just warms you on the inside. It's like I want to be friends with Val Kilmer now. You know, it's like I wish Val Kilmer was my dad. Like it's one of those kinds of movies where it's just like, oh, I feel so good. Like it's really bittersweet, and now I'm crying. But Val Kilmer's a really cool guy. Like it's really fucking good. It's on Amazon Prime Video. Go fucking watch it. Number 36 from 2015. This is where we get into the territory of movies that are really, really fucking good. But there's so many A24 films that are really, really fucking good that clearly were in the 30s of my ranking because these movies are just that fucking good. I would say that whole thing starts around like In Fabric of like this movie is really fucking good, but like there's so many really good A24 films that it's hard to rank to the point that it goes into the 40s. Anyways, yeah, so number 36 from 2015, I gave it 3.5 stars. Don't kill me. It's Ex Machina. 3.5 stars is good. Actually, I need to redo this. Shit. I'm gonna redo this in my head and I'm gonna forget. We're gonna replace Ex Machina. Number 36. This is actually probably further down on the list, but I did not think to reorganize my ranking before I recorded. I just hit record. Now it's probably, I'll be honest, this movie is probably further down on my list. But for now, I'll just say number 36 with about 3 stars, I guess. It actually would be lower. It would be probably in the 50s. From 2014 is Tusk. Yeah, it actually pretty much would be low. It's a very meme movie. I think that's the reason it's so high on my list. I think I jokingly put it this high. It's a very meme movie. It's a pretty good movie. Like, the prosthetics alone are fantastic. And it is fucking scary. But it's not great. I mean, Kevin Smith doesn't walk into his Great North trilogy being like, this is the best movies I've ever made. Like, he knows they're dog shit. And I mean, Tusk isn't dog shit, but it's not good either. It definitely doesn't need to be above Enemy. Yeah, I think it would be below Enemy. Like, it would even be below the Rover. Yeah, I don't know why I put it that high. So then, moving on from there, I would put at 35 from 2021 with 3.5 stars, Red Rocket. I did previously review this film during one of my HCAF episodes in November. That was a fun experience to be at like the quote real premiere because the film is also set in Texas. In the Houston area. Sean Baker himself called the HCAF premiere the Houston premiere, the real premiere. So I'm directly quoting him. Do not fight me on that. He actually said it. Sean Baker's a great guy, but no. This movie is very much grooming and pedophilia. You know, I have respect for Sean Baker and what he does in like street casting and, you know, portraying lower income communities, but pedophilia and grooming, no thank you. So then I would put, I guess, at 34 from 2021 with 3.5 stars, The Souvenir Part 2. I didn't care for it. It was like a direct continuation of The Souvenir, but it was just kind of boring. It was kind of boring to me, no lie. Okay, so then at 33, 3.5 stars, I would put Ex Machina. Ex Machina is just Ex Machina. It's fucking amazing. It's good. It's good. Yeah, this one also is probably gonna get me some shit. Number 32, 2016 with 3.5 stars. Best Picture winner, Moonlight. Yeah. I just don't. It's a phenomenal film. Don't get me wrong. It's a phenomenal film. But, and I think this is partially due to the fact that, you know, I'm not, you know, a gay black man from a, you know, lower income community. You know, as a queer person, I can resonate with it, as a queer person, but otherwise, as fantastic as this movie is, I think my demographic keeps me from being connected to this film, which usually isn't a thing. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Something about this movie doesn't grasp me, but like, it's fantastic. And also, just a movie that makes me feel depressed at the end of it, I'm gonna give it a lower rating. No matter how good it is, if it makes me cry and feel depressed and like sad for somebody, I'm gonna give it a lower rating. It's gonna lose a star because I'm like, how dare you make me feel depressed, Barry? I'll be like, I'm so upset. Don't do this to me. Let me look up Moonlight real quick. Yeah. Don't do this to me, Barry Jenkins. Don't make me depressed. Also, you know what? I just had a flashback while I was talking about this. Last time I watched this movie, it was ruined for me. That's why the rating is the way that it is. Yeah, I rated it 3.5 stars because I left near the end of the film to go do hoe activities, and the hoe activities were not good. And then I told the person that I was doing hoe activities with that I had left a screening of Moonlight to go do those hoe activities with him. And he just was a dick about it and said some racist things, and it kind of ruined it for me. Not in the way of like, oh, he said some racist things that I agree with. More just like he kind of ruined my night by like, first of all, not being good at the whole activities, and then also just being racist. I was just like, all right, fuck you, I'm going home. So it kind of tainted my evening. Didn't change the way that I view Moonlight, it just tainted my evening. That honestly, I shouldn't have gone and done that. I should have just stayed and finished the fucking movie because I was watching it with friends. I still feel like an asshole for it. That winter of like 2019/2020, I was a dick. I'll say that much. So yeah, Moonlight has 3.5 stars because the last time I watched it, I had a really bad hookup with somebody. Yeah, I realized 90% of the people I hooked up with don't reveal that they're pieces of shit until afterwards. I learned that the hard way too many times. That's exactly what happened this night. Yeah. Also, that guy recorded me without my consent, so I learned that at the end of the night too. I was recorded without my consent, so we love sexual assault. Yeah, I need to rewatch Moonlight though. I think it's fantastic. The Oscars happened this past weekend, so it's been on my mind. I probably should watch it because it genuinely is better than La La Land. I know that there's a friend of mine that's listening that loves La La Land, but I'm gonna say it right now: La La Land is garbage. And that's the tea. Moonlight is a million times better. Yeah. I realized I got into one of those headspaces where I started getting defensive over why I gave Moonlight 3.5 stars because I know people love that movie. And I'm not saying I don't love that movie. It's just I'm remembering the last time I watched it, I had a really shitty night and it tainted my night because I had ditched a screening of Moonlight to go do something I probably shouldn't have been doing. And it ended up getting really fucked up and I was like upset. And then I was like, at the end of the night, I get home and I'm upset because I'm stressed out because I had a really bad night. Then I'm like, God damn it, I gotta rate Moonlight now because I watched it. Gotta rate it on Letterboxd. Yeah, I shouldn't have gotten defensive. Basically, though, what happened is I rated it while I was in a bad mood. I gotta stop fucking getting defensive about my ratings of movies. I gotta stand by them. Moonlight's one of those movies that if you don't give it 5 stars, people are like, you're a piece of shit. I'm like, okay. Anyways, I stand by that 3.5 stars though. It it's a really fucking good movie. It just doesn't reach me in a certain way. And also, I have bad memories tied to it. Yeah. It's not even just because of that night, just the subject matter. It gives you flashbacks of when you were treated like shit as a queer person because you were queer. No one wants to think about that. But any story that involves chosen family means a lot to me. Which is why I like Teton so much. I'm not going to go into detail about Teton because I have plans for that movie on this podcast in the future. But yeah, basically, films about chosen family mean a lot to me. Moonlight is one of them. But I also I'm not a fan of slow burn movies too. And Moonlight is a slow burn movie, as good as it is. I'm not a fan of those. Yeah. Number 31 from 2019 with 4 stars is The Souvenir. It's pretty meh. Honestly, now that I'm thinking back on it, both it and The Souvenir Part 2 should be lower on this list. I don't think they're that special. Feels very much like I have rich parents and I want to go to film school, but my ex-boyfriend. Like, what? Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I think I put it high on this list because when I watched The Souvenir parts 1 and 2, I watched it in the A24 screening room thing where they were like premiering The Souvenir part 2 online. And people were tweeting about it and people were like, oh my god, Souvenir, blah blah blah. So it was a pressure thing. I still struggle with being pressured into rating movies higher than I actually feel they should be. And, there's some movies where I don't let that get in the way, like, Lady Bird and Room and like, Enemy and Under the Skin. I don't let people get in the way of that. Because ultimately what happens is if I let somebody pressure me into giving a movie a higher rating, I actually end up hating it. And guess what? I don't like The Souvenir. One, I wasn't impressed by it, but also I was pressured into feeling like I should have given it a higher rating. I'm still working on that. I'm still working on not looking at other people's Letterboxd reviews of a movie before I post my own. That is the big influence on me. So I'm going to stop doing that. Because that kind of pressure actually makes me hate a movie. So if you want me to watch a movie that you really like, don't put any of that pressure on me. Because I'll end up hating it. And I know that's not how things go. You should be able to go into things open-minded. And I'm very good about going into movies open-minded. But the more pressure you put on me, the more it ruins it. And I've had a lot of people fucking do that, where like they put some pressure on me. There is a certain podcast I used to co-host in 2019 that I have mentioned in the past, where I was pressured into, basically forced into liking things a lot. And because of how harshly I was forced to like those things, I actually hated them. And I still do. And it's movies that are actually really fucking good movies that I now hate because someone ruined them for me. I hate Flubber because of that person that I co-hosted that podcast with. And a lot of that gaslighting happened on that podcast. So if you go listen to past episodes of this one, because I'm not going to say the name of it, if you go listen to past episodes of this podcast with Luckiest Peach, you'll hear me mention it. Yeah, the title basically has to do with the University of Houston mascot going to the movies. If you go listen to episodes, there are very many of me being gaslit into just backing off of my own opinions. So, very rough period of time in my life. Yeah, you know what? Okay. That's why a lot of these movies are lower on my list. Actually, now that I think about it, okay. Okay, let me look at this. Okay, yeah. So, I don't know if these films were mentioned in that podcast. I don't remember. But these are going to be titles of films that I was gaslit over into thinking that they were really good or really bad, whether I think they're good or bad at all. So yeah, The Disaster Artist, which I actually do think is shit. But I was gaslit over that one. What else? The Bling Ring also. See, Free Fire for sure. Absolutely. That actually, I'm pretty sure got mentioned. Moonlight definitely got mentioned. Yeah, probably Lady Bird as well. I don't know. If you go listen to Shasta Goes to the Movies, I'm just gonna say, go listen to Shasta Goes to the Movies. I'm sure you'll hear me getting gaslit over those movies into thinking that I should love them. And now I feel differently. Well, okay. The Disaster Artist I actually do think is dog shit. But when I watched it, it was with a group of people that person was also in that group when we watched it. And they were being a piece of shit, and I was having a rough time, and they were being an asshole to me to the point that I had to leave during the movie and go cry. So I already was just hating that experience, but that movie is dog shit. These other movies, though, like, well, The Bling Ring I had seen before, so that doesn't count. But like Free Fire and Moonlight and Eighth Grade and Lady Bird, like, I didn't need to be gaslit over those fucking movies by somebody who made me cry on multiple occasions. Who would, gaslight me, and then I would be like, you just said this, and they would be like, when did I say that? And I'm like, you said it 5 seconds ago. What do you mean? Someone like that who says some really mean shit, and then you call them out on it, and then they immediately are like, I don't know what you're talking about, even though they just said it like a minute ago in that same conversation. That kind of things. So yeah, I haven't watched Moonlight since that friendship with that person ended. So yeah, the Moonlight in general is tainted for me because I have a memory of a bad hookup where I was sexually assaulted, as well as I have memories of an ex-friend, ex-co-host from a podcast, treating me like shit over Moonlight for absolutely no reason. It wasn't even like I said I didn't like it and they gave me shit over it or anything like that. It was just like Moonlight was in the conversation and this person was just in my ear nonstop about Moonlight, gaslighting me that I should love a movie that I didn't even say that I didn't like. Like, I knew I liked it, and there was no reason to do that. I don't remember how I got on this tangent. Oh, I remembered it. Yeah, go listen to any of the episodes of Shasta Goes to the Movies. That was a rough time in my life. I was being treated like shit by my co-host. I'm not going to deny it. I'm going to publicly say it. I was being treated like shit by my co-host. I was verbally and emotionally abused by that person. And I'm not going to deny it. And I was also sexually assaulted by that person. So, well, no, it would be like more like harassment. Regardless, I was sexually harassed by that person. So, I mean, don't listen to it. But if you want proof of it, go listen to it. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, a lot of these movies I haven't watched since then. Moonlight being one of them. My view on the movie itself isn't tainted. It's just the memories I have surrounding this movie and the time periods that I've watched this movie in the past are tainted. And, there are times you give a movie a bad review because you also had a bad night the night that you watched it. And Moonlight is one of those movies. The Harold and Kumar movies are also on that list of those movies that, like, every single time that I've watched one of the Harold and Kumar movies, every single fucking time, without fail, I don't know what it is. Every single time, something very, very suddenly happens where I end up having a mental breakdown. Not within the movie. It has nothing to do with the movie itself. It's just I just happen to be watching a Harold and Kumar movie, and then something happens, and I have a mental breakdown. Every single time. It's a cursed movie for me. I'm starting to think Moonlight is a cursed movie for me, because it seems every time I've watched this movie, or every time I've discussed this movie with somebody, I've ended up having a shitty time to the point that I feel this movie should be lower than The Souvenir. Moving on. That was a really big rant. But I don't think I've ever actually said that, like, out loud, of like, hey, this person I used to host a whole podcast with, on the podcast itself and also privately, regularly, verbally, and emotionally abused me, as well as sexually harassed me, and then called themselves my friend. Yeah. And wouldn't allow me, even though we were just friends, nothing more, they wouldn't allow me to have an opinion differently than theirs. Anytime I did, they would text me and be like, hey, can you just back me up once? And I'd be like, no, because I don't agree with you. They're like, what kind of friend are you that you won't back me up? Classic shitty friend. Anyways, but that's what I'm going to say. If you know, you know. Number 30. Yeah, you know what? I just unpacked a lot of fucking trauma in the last 10-15 minutes. Moonlight is cursed for me. That's all I'm going to say, because I don't remember the last time a movie, just casually talking about a movie, led me to unpacking a lot of fucking trauma. And I just did a lot of that. I apologize. But you know what? I pride myself on how open I am. I'm not afraid, to say, hey, this person was a piece of shit. So, yeah. I mean, clearly I'm not afraid to, because I did a whole fucking episode at the end of November being like, hey, HCAF treated me like shit. So, yeah. Number 30 from 2015 with 4 stars is The End of the Tour. This is a very feel-good movie. I mean, it's kind of depressing, I'm not gonna lie, but it is feel-good. I don't know. It's like Jesse Eisenberg is a journalist, and Jason Segel, however you pronounce his last name, is an author who is on a book tour, and Jesse Eisenberg, guess what? He joins him for the end of his book tour. And it's just them having conversations. And it's really, really poignant, and it's really fucking good. It has, like, come on before come on vibes. That's how fucking good it is. Number 29 from 2014 with 4 stars is Life After Beth. Honestly, now that I think about it, that should probably be lower on this list. I should have gone through this list before I recorded. I didn't think this through. But anyways, that's where it is now, so I'm just going to say it. Life After Beth. It's a zombie movie. What year did that fucking Warm Bodies movie come out? Was that 2009? 2013. Okay, same period of time, roughly. It was 2014. Not the same vibes. But similar-ish. They're rom-coms about zombies. But Life After Beth is significantly better than Warm Bodies. It's Warm Bodies, but better. Yeah. Without the weird undertones of, like, he's different from you. No, I mean, Warm Bodies is based on Romeo and Juliet, but, like, if you're not thinking about it, if you don't know, if you're watching it and you don't already know that it's based on Romeo and Juliet, you're going to be like, this is kind of suspicious that the general's daughter is getting with the zombie, and he's very upset that she's getting with somebody who's not like them. Yeah, it could be interpreted as offensive if you didn't know that it was based on Romeo and Juliet. But yeah, Life After Beth's basically significantly better. It's fun. It's a fun zombie movie. Number 28 from 2017, 4 stars, is Good Time. I enjoy this movie a fuck ton. I mean, I struggle with Safdie brothers because they make phenomenal films, but their style kind of shows the hectic, like stressful nature of life, and I am a high stress, high tension person. That's not good for me. That kind of stress in a movie is not good for me. But Good Time is a really fucking good movie. The only thing I really don't like about Good Time is it draws comparisons to, like, in a way, like, to Of Mice and Men, which is a really fucking ableist and racist book. So that's where I'm like, ugh, oof, you know. But Good Time is really good though. Yeah. Number 27 from 2017 with 4 stars is Menage. This one, this is a movie that I wish more people talked about, like Kresha. I wish more people talked about this fucking movie because it's so fucking good. It's so emotional. It's so just, oh, I bawled my eyes out. This movie's so fucking good. It's about a Hasidic Jewish man whose wife passed away, and in the Hasidic Jewish culture, a man is not allowed to be a single dad. He has to remarry in order to continue caring for his child. So his kid ends up living with, I think, his wife's family, his now deceased wife's family. And he's like, I don't want to get remarried. I loved her. Why can't I just take care of my kid on my own? It's that. It's like, oh, it's so gut wrenching. It's just like this guy wants to do everything he possibly can for his kid. He wants to take care of his kid so fucking badly. Yeah, it's so good. I think it is currently in streaming service limbo. Let me double check my spreadsheet. Yes, it is in streaming service limbo. It was on Netflix for a while. Now it's in limbo. So it's only available to buy or rent currently, but usually when an A24 film goes into limbo, that means it's about to join Showtime. So it either already is on Showtime or it will be soon. Usually that's the trend I've noticed with A24. They have a streaming deal with Showtime, which I like because you get all their movies in one place, well, the majority of them. But yeah, I've noticed their film, they used to primarily be on Netflix. And then they all moved to Showtime. But there were still some on Netflix, and there still are some on Netflix. But what'll happen is, I guess Netflix's contract for that film ends, and then it's in limbo for a little while before it moves to Showtime. I don't know what the logistics of that is because I'm not a business person. I'm not a business major. But I'm sure it's like there has to be some kind of period of time where it's just in between services. I don't know. But yeah, as of now, it's, and I'm gonna look it up now because I really fucking love this movie. See if it's been moved yet. No, not yet. Not yet. Well, it says Hulu with premium subscription. Does that mean live TV or with an add-on? Oh fuck! I don't want to look at Amy Schumer. I don't want to see Amy Schumer's face. I want to punch her. It's with Showtime add-on. So, on Showtime? I hope I can search through Showtime. I canceled my thing. Gosh. To save money, I canceled my thing. Okay, yeah, no, it's on Showtime now. I don't know why Google isn't telling me that it's on Showtime. It's not for some reason. But anyways, Menage is on Showtime now. I highly fucking recommend it. I know Showtime is one of those services where you're just like, why though? Like Cinemax and Stars, but Showtime has some good shit. It has a lot of good shit on it. It has a lot of good shit on it. Like, it genuinely has a lot of good shit on it. And it has, I would say, like 80 to 90% of A24's films on it. It's worth it. Like I said, I canceled my subscription to save some money for a little bit. But I'm going to restart it at some point so I can finish watching all these fucking movies. And also, aside from that, they have really good shit on it. Also, they have porn on there. It's a double whammy, you know? You get all these cool movies, you get all these cool shows that are just on there, you know? You can get some live TV, you can get documentaries, comedy specials, sports, and then just to top it all off, you get porn. I will defend Showtime. Like they're doing Zeus's work. I'm telling you, they always have been. Okay, they're not as good as HBO. We all know it. They know it, but they're really fucking good. No one talks about Showtime enough. This is the moment where I tell you, go get a fucking Showtime subscription because it's actually worth it. Anyways, yeah, go watch fucking Minaj. Go watch it. It's a great movie. Number 26 from 2022 with 4 stars is X. I am not going to give a full review of it for reasons that I am not going to say right now. But in general, yeah, it was a good slasher movie. It was a good homage to 70s slasher films. And who else doesn't want to see Kid Cudi's dick? I'll tell you that right now. Kid Cudi's dick is in it. If you already aren't wanting to watch it for other reasons, his dick is in it. You should go watch it for that movie. For that reason. Anyways, number 25 from 2018 with 4 stars is Climax. Y'all know I love Gaspar Noé. Yeah, I love Climax. I was telling people about Climax on set a couple weeks ago, and I was recommended a movie called Shrooms. So I'm gonna watch that soon because they said it sounded similar to Climax. So, but also go watch Climax. It's a really good movie. And also the opening sequence is just so fucking good. It's a whole vibe. Number 24 from 2019 with 4 stars is First Cow. A lot of people didn't like First Cow. And then I watched it and I was like, what is wrong with y'all? This movie is fantastic. I loved it. You know, it was like Brokeback Mountain if they never admitted their love for each other and never hooked up. They just had all this sexual tension the whole time. You know? It was one of those movies where, like, when I finished it, I was like, oh yeah, the history books just called them best friends. I was like, this is a Lewis and Clark movie. Where the movie's just like, yeah, they're besties. But you know, they were fucking raw in that tent overnight. You already know. Everyone knows. But that stuff aside, this is a really good fucking movie. I genuinely love First Cow, and I still don't understand why people didn't. Is it because it's about a cow? Is that why you're just like, why make a movie about cow? Why make a movie about cow? Meh, 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 meh. Because why not make a movie about a cow? Fuck you. Enjoy the little things in life. Okay? Yeah. I love First Cow. It is the gay cowboy movie that we have always deserved and needed. I said what I said. It is my favorite gay cowboy movie. I said what I said. All right, fuck you, Sam Elliott. Number 23 from 2021 with 4 stars is After Yang. I just, it's already on Showtime. It just released, but it was released as a Showtime exclusive. So it is already on Showtime. Go fucking watch it. It is depressing. I'll say that much. But it's the only issue I have with this movie is that the chemistry between Colin Farrell and Jodie Turner-Smith is lacking. And that is the only issue I have with this movie. Jodie Turner-Smith and Colin Farrell have no chemistry whatsoever. Like, they gave me more roommates rather than, a married couple. They're playing a married couple, but their chemistry just gives roommates. Roommate you found on Craigslist that you don't really talk to that much. So that's the only issue I have with that movie, though. It's phenomenal. Go fucking watch it. Number 22 from 2017 with 4 stars is The Killing of a Sacred Deer. I fucking love Yorgos Lanthimos. I also fucking love Colin Farrell. I also fucking love Barry Keoghan. Barry Keoghan's one of those people you see him and shit's about to go down. Colin Farrell's just a fucking amazing actor. They are the Irish kings of Hollywood. Put some respect on their names. Go fucking watch Killing of a Sacred Deer, and then go watch every other Yorgos Lanthimos movie ever. Would I say this is his best movie? No. His best film is The Lobster, which we'll get to, but it's still really fucking good. Yeah, number 21 from 2016 with 4 stars is Swiss Army Man. It's like, they're making the weirdest fucking shit. It's the weirdest shit. And you're like, where the hell did you get this from? Like, where did you get this story from? I don't know why. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. You're just like, this man is stranded on a deserted island and he sees a dead body that he can use as like a speedboat from farts. Like, it's so fucking ridiculous. It sounds so ridiculous, but it's so fucking good. Like, it's not just a ridiculous story. It's like actually good. It's actually a really good movie. That's the most mind-blowing part about Swiss Army Man is that, like, you read the, like, description of it and you're like, this is stupid. And then you watch it and you're crying and you're like, oh my God. Yeah, go watch Swiss Army Man. Number 20 from 2015 with 4 stars is The Vivitch, directed by Robert Eggers. One of my kings, Robert Eggers. Need I say more? We love Robert Eggers. We stan Robert Eggers. Okay. I have a tattoo of Black Phillip for this film. Also because of Lucifer, who I enjoy. But, and by enjoy, I mean, like, I like Lucifer. I like him. I'm part of the Satanic Temple. And also, he's one of my patron deities. So, yeah, I have a lot of respect for him. But, yeah. Also, I just like goats. But yeah, we stand the witch. Number 19 from 2019 with 4 stars is Uncut Gems. Again, I thought I was I thought I was having a panic attack the entire time I watched this. Every time I've watched this. The first time in the theater, I for sure thought I was having a panic attack. Every time I've watched it since, I know what to expect, but I still feel like I'm having a panic attack. It's an amount of stress that I would rather not endure. I just would rather not endure that amount of stress. No matter how good this movie is, this is a movie that I don't need to rewatch for a while because I feel like I'm gonna have a heart attack if I watch it again with the amount of stress that it fills me with. And I know that's the point of it, and that's part of the reason it's so fucking good. But it's an unhealthy amount of stress that, like, despite it being a really good movie, and the fact that the stress factor adds to the reason why it's so good, I'd rather not. Anyways, number 18 from 2015 with 4 stars is Green Room. If you haven't seen Green Room, go fuck yourself. Rest in peace, Anton Yelchin. This is a gem. This is Green Room is a real fucking gem. It's a real fucking gem. Number 17 from 2015 with 4.5 stars is the last film that I watched in my original plan to watch every film in the A24 catalog consecutively, is Into the Forest. It has Evan Rachel Wood and Elliot Page. pre-transition Elliot Page. It's so fucking good. It's not even a horror movie. It's like a apocalyptic movie, which I guess in a sense, apocalypse is horror. But it's like a thriller drama film. It's more drama than thriller, but the subject matter is terrifying as a feminine presenting person. So yeah, do watch it at your own risk, because it may be triggering to those who have been victim to sexual assault. But otherwise, it's a really fucking good movie, and I highly recommend it. Number 16 from 2019 with 4.5 stars is The Farewell. Cried my fucking eyes out. So good. So good. Not a fan of Awkwafina because her history as a comedian is very checkered. It's iffy, but this movie, just in general, is just really fucking good. Number 15 from 2020 with 4.5 stars is Minari. Made me fucking bawl my eyes out. It was the kind of movie that made me wish I knew how to cook better. And yeah, it's one of those. Minari and The Farewell are those kinds of movies where it makes me wish I had a better relationship with my family. And that's kind of why they made me cry so much. Not even just because of the plots, just it made me wish my life was different and better. Yeah, but not in a way of like, I resent this movie because I wish I had that. It's more like, I love this movie because I wish I had that. And I respect it. Number 14 from 2021 with 4.5 stars is The Tragedy of Macbeth. Denzel, you should have won that Oscar. I already previously reviewed this film on February's monthly review, so if you want to hear my actual review of Tragedy of Macbeth, go back to that episode. But yeah, I enjoyed this movie. Number 13 from 2019 with 4.5 stars is Saint Maud. This movie is disturbing. It's very disturbing. It's one of those things where like it's not body horror. There's some body horror films where something happens and you just like, this isn't even body horror, and it makes you like twinge, it makes you freak out. You're like, oh my god, why'd you do that? Yeah. Number 12, 2018 is Hereditary. We stand Toni Collette in this household. I still don't know what the fuck kind of hereditary tattoo I want. It's the only one of the between the two A24 horror kings that I don't have, which I guess I technically can't call them that anymore because The Northman isn't being produced by A24. Is it? Is it Searchlight? I can't remember. The Northman. Yeah, still stand Robert Eggers, and I'm glad he's getting a bigger budget. Focus Features and Universal. Okay. Focus Features and Universal Pictures. I'm proud of him for getting that bigger budget. He very much deserves it. But I guess I can't call him an A24 horror king anymore because this movie is an A24. Anyways, Hereditary isn't Eggers, it's Ari Aster. But Ari Aster and Robert Eggers were the A24 horror kings. Called them that specifically because they both have the same number of films, and each of their films have released the same years, not like as a competition reason, just in general. It was like a coincidence type thing because nobody ever viewed either of their films as in competition with one another. No one thought that Hereditary was competing with The Witch or that Midsummer was competing with The Lighthouse, and no one's gonna think that not Nightmare. Is it Nightmare? Disappointment. No one's gonna think that Disappointment Boulevard is competing with The Northman. All of their films are drastically different, but they just happen to have released the same years, and they have the same number of films. That's why I call them that. But Hereditary is the only one out of those 4 films that I have not gotten a tattoo for, because I'm still thinking about it. It took me like a good few years to decide what I wanted from Midsummer, which I only just recently got. So yeah. Eggers' films are easier to come up with those ideas for. Because The Lighthouse, I literally just got a tattoo of a lighthouse. The Witch, I got a tattoo of Black Phillip. Yeah. So number 11 from 2021 with 4.5 stars is The Humans. I also reviewed this in my HCAF review back in November. But I fucking love The Humans. Love it. But I hate Amy Schumer, I'll say that much. Now we're into the top 10. Ooh, 2 hours later. Number 10 from 2022 with 5 stars. This one's, I guess, I don't know if you consider this one like a loophole because it doesn't have an official release date, but it's When You Finish Saving the World. I fucking love it. It's a very good satire critiquing American activism and cognitive dissonance. It's so fucking good. If you don't watch this movie when it's finally out, I'm gonna come for your ass. Moving on though, number 9 from 2020 with 4.5 stars is Zola. I can say that. No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna keep it a secret. But I fucking love Zola, and it was. I don't want to talk about the fucking Oscars this year. They were already a hot mess, but I am most disappointed that Zola did not get at least one nomination. Not even just for editing. Like it shouldn't have just gotten at least one. Zola is hands down one of the best movies that came out last year, and it's still not talked about enough by enough people. It was really big in people who are involved on Twitter, and it was very big in the film culture world, but outside of that, it's not talked about, and it needs to be talked about because it's phenomenal. Number 8 from 2019 with 5 stars is Midsummer. It actually, no lie, as much as I enjoy Midsummer, it was lower on this list until I watched the director's cut, and I moved it up on this list. It used to be 4 stars. It used to be 4 stars, and it was somewhere else lower, not even in the top 10. And then I watched the director's cut, and now it's in the top 10, and it's 5 stars because the director's cut is the only version I'm ever going to watch ever again. I'm just going to say it, only watch the director's cut. Unfortunately, as of now, the director's cut is only available either to buy or rent on iTunes, only on iTunes, not on Prime Video or Vudu or anywhere else, only on iTunes, or through buying the Blu-ray off of A24's website. Only that one, the special edition that's on their website. But I'm sure 123 Movies has the director's cut. But honestly, I'm telling, don't watch the theatrical cut. Only watch the director's cut. It gives you so much more context. It's so much more to go off. Most of what's added back in is dialogue. There's one whole scene that of course is added back in, and there's a couple shots that are added back in, but the majority of what's added back in is dialogue, which you would be like, why would you add that back in? You call that director's cut? Which, to that I say, yeah, I don't know why A24 was like, let's cut all this shit out, but it adds so much more to the story. Just that dialogue that's added back in adds so much more. It makes it that much more enjoyable, and I recommend it on that alone. Only watch the director's cut from now on. Number 7 from 2017 with 4.5 stars is A Ghost Story. this movie is so fucking depressing. It's the single most depressing film out of their entire library, their entire catalog. A ghost story is the most depressing. It will have you contemplating your life. It will give you an existential crisis. But it's so good. David Lowery and Daniel Hart, or David Hart, is it David Hart or Daniel Hart? David Lowery and David or Daniel Hart, his composer, they make masterpieces. They only make masterpieces. Their other masterpiece is higher up on this list. But you just... I mean, make sure you're in the right state of mind before you watch a ghost story, but do watch it. It's so fucking good. Like there's having a director that has a really good working relationship with a composer pays off so well, and these two are proof of it. Number 6 from 2015 is The Lobster. This is Yorgos Lanthimos' best movie. Oh, I gave it 5 stars. The rest of these films are 5 stars. I love The Lobster. I watched it on a whim. I didn't know anything about it. I just remember somebody talking about it. You get turned into a lobster. And then I watched it and I was like, oh my God. First of all, it has my Irish king in it. And also my queen, Rachel Weisz, is in it. And my queen, Olivia Colman, is in it. But cast aside, it's just... it's a good commentary on the expectations of love and relationships in modern day societies. Yeah, and so was Menage. Menage, actually, they're obviously completely different plots, but their subject matter is similar and kind of similar. The Lobster and Menage. Yeah. Number 5, 2019, is The Lighthouse. I'm sorry it's not higher up on this list. Like, I would say, like, yeah, it's my favorite. It genuinely is. But in terms of, like, the way I'm going to rank it against the rest of the catalog, it's going to be number 5. But I fucking love The Lobster. I have a locket that I made in the summer of 2020. It has a couple of charms on it. One of them is like a little mermaid thing, and the other is well, it's like an octopus, I think, but I'm just like, it's a kraken. But I think it's actually a lobster, but whatever. To me, it's a kraken. And the photos in the locket are like photos of a photo of Willem Dafoe and a photo of Robert Pattinson from The Lighthouse, and I call it my Lighthouse locket. Yeah. This was actually, no lie, my Lighthouse tattoo was my birthday tattoo from 2020. It's the tattoo I got for my 22nd birthday. I genuinely love this movie so much. I haven't watched it in a while. I might watch it tonight after I finish recording. If I finish recording, like, Jesus, this is gonna take a long fucking time for me to upload. Yeah, number 4 from 2021. I reviewed this in November as well. Come On. Also snubbed, not just by the Academy, but this is going to reveal something that I'm not going to explicitly say, but also snubbed by Film Independent. That kind of gives away that I voted for it in, I think I only voted for it in one of the categories, though I can't remember, though. I don't feel like looking it up. I don't want to reveal all my secrets. But, yeah, it's not getting all the awards that it deserves, is what I'm saying. It's not getting any of the recognition that it deserves. As a sound person, as somebody whose ears are fine-tuned to sound in like sound mixing, and sound design and all that and sound engineering, this movie was music to my ears. It was, and not, and sound mixing aside, just the story is so heartbreaking. Like I just said earlier in this episode, I fucking hate kids. This movie, like, kind of, I mean, this kid is a little shit, but this, this movie shows the importance of treating kids like humans, and not like zoo animals. And that's why I like it. Because, obviously I do hate kids, especially when they're little shits, but if I'm going to talk to a kid, I'm going to treat that kid with respect. And I'm going to talk to that kid like a human, not like a animal, not like a dog. Number 3, this has been high on my ranking since I first watched it in 2020. It is 2015's Amy. I don't watch documentaries that often. I'm not a big fan of them, but this one specifically broke me. Amy Winehouse deserved so much better, and she was a raw talent that we rarely ever get to see. And she was treated just so horribly by her own family, by her own friends, by, her team, by the media. Like, she deserves so much fucking better. Her story is just heartbreaking. I've only watched Amy once because of how much it broke me. But it's no words can describe how good that documentary is. Number 2, 2021, is David Lowery's masterpiece, The Green Knight. You already been new. Did I review The Green Knight somewhere? I think I did. Did I review it on here? Let me find out that I reviewed it on here and completely forgot. I mean, that would be exactly like me to do, but I did. So go listen to my review of The Green Knight. Apparently I did review it on here, and I remember now. I reviewed it with Gio and Luis. I remember now. Yeah, so there is a lengthy review of The Green Knight on another episode further back. I knew this was going to be a long recording, and when I started recording, I was like, I'm not going to ramble too much. Here we are. I already let myself ramble too much. I knew when I let myself ramble for the first 30 minutes of this episode that I had already fucked up. But I'm a one-take bitch. I don't restart. I only ever record in one take, clearly, because I get so many fucking interruptions and shit, and I don't edit those out or start over or anything. But that's the whole vibe of this podcast. So if you're upset about that, dude, you're way too fucking late. This is episode 51, and you're just now being like, you don't edit. You only do it in one take. You don't restart. If you're upset about it now, like, you're really fucking, you're almost a year too late. Jeez. Anyways, number 1, if you haven't guessed it by now, from 2017, The Florida Project. This is, I don't think Sean Baker will ever fucking top this. The kids were little shits, and I hated them, but, it's a lesson that every movie watcher needs to learn, that the protagonist does not need to be a good person. We kind of learn this early on growing up, that like this idea that protagonist and antagonist is always good guy versus bad guy, and that's not the case. The protagonist is just the main character. The antagonist is the person that is opposing the main character. Doesn't mean that the protagonist is always good. Sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes they're both good. Sometimes they're both bad. The protagonist literally is just the main character, and the antagonist is literally just a person who is opposing the main character. That's it. So yeah, we get fed this assumption that that's what it is that it's good guy versus bad guy every single time, and that's not true. The Florida Project is a good example of it. The protagonist is a little shit kid. Like, she's terrible. She's an asshole. She's gonna grow up to be a piece of shit. We're not meant to root for her. You're not always meant to root for the protagonist or the main character. You're not meant to. They're just the main character. We're just seeing their story. You know, and this is why I appreciate Sean Baker, is he shows things as they are. It's kind of showing the real world that, you know, everyone's a piece of shit. You know? And in this world we live in, there's no like good guys, bad guys, good guys, bad guys. People have their heroic moments, yes, but someone who is 100% inherently good is rare. It's possible, but it's extremely rare, especially in America. And The Florida Project is a good example of that. And I mean, all of Sean Baker's films are examples of that. They're not good people. No one in this movie is a good person, but it's a fantastic movie. It shows a lot of, you know, context of, you know, a part of a socioeconomic identity that exists in America that we don't see. And what those people go through, because there are people who live in hotels. It's unfortunately a very common thing. You know, Sean Baker was just like, I'll make a film bringing light to that. And it's a phenomenal film. But yeah, that experience is, you know, everyday life for some people. Which is why, like, the worst thing to come out of the Florida Project is that people started treating that hotel like a tourist destination. And there are people who genuinely do live in that hotel that's in the film. So that's really the only, that's fucked up, honestly. I don't blame Sean Baker for that, though. I feel like that's more people who don't have any fucking self-awareness. And don't realize how their actions affect other people. But yeah, it's just, the Florida Project is just, it's one of the best movies of the 21st century. And it is a film that Willem Dafoe 100% was snubbed an Oscar for. He was nominated and he didn't win it. I don't remember who won it that year, but he was snubbed. Give Willem Dafoe his fucking Oscar, is all I'm gonna say. He deserved it for this, and he didn't get it. So fuck you. Yeah, if anything, Willem Dafoe's character is also a piece of shit, but he's also the hero of this specific story. I could go on a rant all day about character dynamics and how the way that we're taught character dynamics in elementary school actually fucks up our view of things, because then we're, you know, we watch a movie like this where none of the characters are good, none of them are good people, and you're like, well, they're all pieces of shit. What am I supposed to? I don't know who to root for. Who am I rooting for? You're not supposed to. I could go on a whole rant about it, but I'm not going to, because I've already kept you guys here for far too long. Basically the length of a drunk commentary. Also, my throat hurts because I've been talking for almost 2.5 hours straight. So I'm just going to tell you, The Florida Project is my number one in my ranking of A24 films. If I had to decide my single favorite, it wouldn't be possible. It would probably be anything that's within the top 30, probably just the top 40. I don't even know. I don't know what my favorite would be. Yeah. But thank you guys for sticking around for this, for listening to this. Yeah, I'll see you guys. Well, hold on. You can find me everywhere at Lucky Peach, LVCKY Peach. In the description of this episode, there will be a link tree. Don't ask about the website, but there will be a link tree that will take you to my Twitter, my TikTok, my Instagram, my Letterboxd, the Discord for the podcast, Patreon at patreon.com/luckypeach, the stickers, and Twitch. I think I already said that. Probably something else. I'm always missing something when I go through that list. You can also get the Luckiest Peach stickers at Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/the luckiest peach. Oh, the link to the YouTube is also on the link tree. That's what I forgot this time. I always forget something. This time it was the YouTube. What else? There will also be a link to a Reddit post in the description that has a compiled list of resources that you can go to support Ukraine. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you to my patrons at patreon.com/luckypeach. Yeah. There will also be another link to a GoFundMe in the description. I'm too tired to talk about it. I'll explain it more next week. But long story short, financial aid, both the financial aid office at U of H and the federal financial aid office have fucked me royally. And I can't get any private loans. Basically, even though I have good credit, I can't get any private loans. So I have a single year left of school. I will be graduating next spring, just because of the way that things happen. But ideally, I would be graduating next fall. But there's one class that's only offered in the spring that is like I'm taking. It's a language class, so you have to take them in levels or whatever, and that's the last level, and it's only offered in the spring. So for that reason, I'm graduating next spring. But because financial aid has fucked me so royally, and getting scholarships is not guaranteed, and my parents are not helping me out anymore, I have no way of paying for my final year of school. So that's what that GoFundMe is in the description. I'm kind of embarrassed to have had to do that. I know it's in this day and age it's kind of normal, but it just feels embarrassing. But genuinely, I have no way around any of the FAFSA stuff or the personal loan stuff, or I guess it's called private loan stuff. I have no way around it. I have no way to pay for school. Bottom line. And scholarships, even though I'm applying for a shit ton, they're not guaranteed. So the GoFundMe is just saying, hey, I can't pay for school. If anyone would like to help or can help, or at least just share the link, I would appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who has donated so far. I owe you my degree, basically. Yeah. So yeah, that'll be also in the description of the episode. Next week is a new month. So I will see you guys next week for Streaming Wars. We'll go over everything coming out in April. Thank you so much for listening. Stay peachy.